is Technology, Engineering, Arts, and Math Academy. And I am honored today to have some of my bestest friends from 40 years. We met each other at the great Morehouse College in Atlanta, Georgia. Many of us in 1983, and then our youngest brother joined us in 1984. And we have been friends and brothers over the years. And we want to share with our young scholars, our young kings, what it's like to go to a school like Morehouse College, and how the friendships and the brotherhoods have built themselves up. We got our 5 of our 7 whales. The whales are well read, well traveled, well spoken, well dressed, well balanced, well connected, and well led. 5 of those came from what I've learned through Morehouse College. So I want to be able to share that with you on today, and want you to know that it's not where you came from, young men, but it's where you're going. And we believe in you. We believe that you can be whatever you want to be. And we want to share our journey and our story with you today to help you to know that if we were able to do it, you can do it too. So I want to begin by asking our participants to introduce themselves and where they came from. And I want them to describe their journey to coming to Morehouse College. And Morehouse College, young men, is located in Atlanta, Georgia. Our most famous graduate is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., but there are so many other African-American men who have come through there, some who are famous. And then you see the 5 of us here. The school made an impact upon all of our lives. So one of you can begin and tell us who you are and where you're from and how you got to Morehouse.
I'll jump in there. And first of all, I just want to thank Dr. Canady for having us on here today. And I want to salute him. Also want to salute Kēvin, want to salute Chris Weathers, and Reverend George Britt. I am just so proud of these 4 young men. I'm going to call them young men because we still got a lot to do. And these are some of my best friends. And I'm going to start off by saying this. I'm closer to these brothers than I am some of my fraternity brothers. And I say that with all sincerity because we were Morehouse men first before we went and did any other type of thing. And so I could really tell a story about all 4 of these gentlemen. I could talk about DC when I met him on the football team through one of my homeboys, Leonard Watkins. I was so impressed with this brother that he was writing poetry as a football player. I can talk about Kēvin. We became close our senior year, and we used to ride around in my Jeep along with DC. And Kēvin, when we graduated, and when Kēvin went to work for the company he went to work for, our bond was so close. When he came up to Nashville, I never will forget, I was working in Nashville in banking, and Kēvin came up and just did a wonderful job. And then Crisco and George, we were together up in Ohio, and just had a bond. And that's the thing about Morehouse. Little did we know 35, 40 years ago that one of the treasures for Morehouse College is the lasting friendships. And just want to say a word. I'm gonna get to how I got to Morehouse, but I just want to say a word about during the pandemic. Mental health became a big deal in the pandemic, and we would text these gentlemen. Now we would text each other every day, and that really helped with my mental health. That I knew I had some brothers that I could talk to and share things with, and gain encouragement. And that's special, brothers. Not many people have that. Not many people have 35, 40-year lasting friendships. And so I just want to start by my sincere love and admiration for these 4 young men on the line with us today. My name is Dr. Marlon Scott. I'm from Augusta, Georgia. I'm from the home of Morehouse College. So I basically kind of grew up knowing about Morehouse in a large space because my pastor, the late Reverend Dr. C.S. Hamilton, was a Morehouse man. And the thing that really resonated with me as a young child was growing up in church. And when the Morehouse guys would come back to Tabernacle Church, which is one of the historic churches in our country, Reverend Hamilton was big on education. He would have all the college people stand up, but he really made a big deal when the Morehouse guys stood up. And then on top of that, we would have the Morehouse Glee Club come to my church. And man, those brothers would show out. And, all the young ladies, all the young ladies was, swooning over the Morehouse brothers. And they would come in singing, and oh man, it was just amazing. But just fast forward to my senior year in high school, one of my best friends at the time, guy grew up with, went to high school, went with the church with, brother by the name of Jeffrey Todd Anderson. We grew up about 7-minute walk from each other's house. And we were talking about August of 1982. And school was just about to start. And he asked me, he said, man, where you going to college? We were standing outside church, really in the back vestibule. And I said, man, I'm going to University of Georgia. Herschel Walker won't be at Georgia long, and I'm going to walk on as a running back. And I said, where you going? He said, I'm going to Morehouse. I said, he said, you going to Morehouse? He said, yeah. He said, my dad went to Morehouse. I said, man, I've been knowing you all this time. I didn't know your dad went to Morehouse. And his father was one of the first psychiatrists, an MD with a great reputation. He passed away when Jeff was in the 5th grade. And he said, I'm going to Morehouse. And I said, Morehouse? Then he began, and all of the brothers here will relate to this because all of the guys, Reverend DC, Kēvin, George, Crisco, all of us are in sales. And this guy sold me on Morehouse right in the back of church. He said, I'm going to name for you all the famous Morehouse men in our church. Then he pointed at the pastor. He pointed at a principal, a banker. Then he listed Ed McIntyre, which was the first Black mayor. The brother sold me on Morehouse right then. And right then I said, well, I'm not going to take Herschel's spot. I'm going to Morehouse. And I concocted me a plan because I had a strong B+ in high school. I said, you know what? I'm gonna have to apply before all these smart brainiac guys apply. So I applied right there, the end of August, 1st of September. I had my application in. And by October, I got my acceptance letter that I had been accepted to Morehouse. Man, I was so proud. I walked to school that day, my chest all out. And that was the beginning of my Morehouse story. And it made such an impact on my family's life. My father, who was an HBCU graduate, a Payne College graduate, he absolutely loved Morehouse. And he would love to go in the bookstore and buy books. And then they had Parent Day my sophomore year, and that's when they started the Candle in the Dark right there in Chiver's lunchroom. My mom and dad came up. They brought my 2 younger brothers up. And my mom and dad tell a story about all in the car going up to Atlanta. They were like, we don't want to go up here. We don't want to go up here. man, when they got out there and saw the campus, and my mom said their eyes got so big, and they were like driving home. We going to Morehouse. We going to Morehouse. And so my two younger brothers matriculated through Morehouse. My middle brother, Merwin, is a 1992 graduate, and my baby brother Patrick is a 1996 graduate, and my son, and brothers, I want y'all to pray now, because y'all know how it is. My son is now going around getting all the signatures needed for graduation. Lord Jesus, give us favor.
Yeah.
And he should be graduating in 2024. And
Great.
so, but I just want to, amen. I just want to end by this, and I want to say my nephew is at Morehouse. In the last year, he earned the starting quarterback position, and then my niece is at Spelman. But I just want to say the thing for me at Morehouse has been the friendships and the bonds that we have created. Any one of us five brothers can go on the campus right now, 45 years later, and know several people. Yep. We can go back to our homecoming and know hundreds of people. And that's been the special thing. And so I want to yield my time back to these distinguished brothers, but I'm so humbled and honored to be here. And God bless you all. Much love to you all and the students who will be coming to Morehouse from your awesome school, DC.
Thank you. Next brother, want to tell us of your journey to get to Morehouse.
Well, you better go non-pastor for a moment here, because we need some brevity on the Well, hey, getting to the point. Thank you, Marlon. I appreciate you sharing that, man, and all the kind words that you've shared. I would say my journey was similar to yours. I grew up in what we call the CSRA in Georgia, Washington, Georgia, which is not far from Augusta as well. My experience was similar to Marlon's in that I actually went on a recruiting visit to the University of Georgia my senior year in high school. And actually, I still have my daughter saw a badge that I had where my recruiting badge had during the Ole Miss Georgia game. And I had a chance to also see during that time in high school Herschel on a visit as well. And I would tell you, I was destined to go to Georgia as well. That's all I dreamed of doing. And interesting enough, I had a fortunate opportunity to visit Morehouse as a football recruit in high school. And I will tell you, it changed my life. It was an experience that literally I put Georgia in the rear view from the moment I returned from the campus. I mean, you're talking about a very vibrant campus at the time. I was fortunate to experience the discussion and the dialogue about being more than a football player, something that I needed. I had never had that conversation. My passion was about, being a part of the UGA football program. And I would tell you, the visit to Morehouse was everything I needed. And I will just, I will thank my high school coaches as well as the folks that were at Morehouse at the time to actually come down, pick me up, and take me there. So it was great. What I learned was about the requirements around academic excellence, being a football player, but football player only as a second sense of who you are and your identity. And so from that end, it just it allowed me to be on a path of be around brothers that were going to put the first things first. And for me, I needed that. I was the first in my entire family to go to college. My mom and dad dad separated from us when I was 3 years old. And actually, I didn't see him again until I saw him once at a funeral, like 9 years old. He moved to New York, and I saw him again literally at 26 years old, Darryl and I both went to work for Pillsbury out of college. He helped me get the interview, made me aware Pillsbury was on campus. So we always had that bond, and we were roommates, teammates as well. And but we had each other's back, and so to that end, you know, beyond just being in each other's weddings, we also from day one, whether it was what was going on in class, what was going on in terms of recruiters for career opportunities, we always had each other's back, and we were always sharing and encouraging each other to thrive for the very best of what we could potentially be. And Morehouse gave me that opportunity. So I will forever be grateful for not only the bond that I have with you brothers, but more importantly, just what Morehouse gave me and the opportunities that allowed me to be as great as I potentially wanted to be.
Thank you. Thank you.
Outstanding. I'll go ahead and jump in before we give it back over to Brother Britt. So first of all, thank you, Dr. Canady. I think this is a fantastic forum. Great idea to get this group of very talented, and I'll put myself in that group as well, individuals to speak to your students, and I take that to heart, and I would actually love the opportunity to come and talk to the group in person. So let's definitely make that happen as well.
Yes.
My name is Chris Weathers. I'm from Macon, Georgia. Not little city about a little bit south of Atlanta. Just as Brother Cobb mentioned, I too was the first in my family to attend college. So it's different growing up in those environments because you don't have those same level of expectations if your parents were in different groups, like maybe they've already gone to college, they've done some different things. It was, you know, get out of high school, right? And then from there, who knows what the opportunities might lead to. Maybe it's military, maybe it's college. But very interesting thing happened to me, and I would say it was probably my 8th grade year. I got very focused about school, work, and grades. I'm not sure exactly where that spark came from. Maybe it was a conversation with a relative or a parent, but I mean, I was always a good student, but when I hit the 8th grade, it was straight A's. I just got very focused. I took grades in school very seriously. I looked forward to going to classes. I studied the right way. I got around a different group of students. And so my whole life changed from 8th grade till I got to my senior year. At that point, the teachers and the guidance counselors were telling me, you need to continue your education and then look at colleges. So I started to apply to different colleges. One of the things that made it possible for me to learn a lot more about Morehouse is my high school in Macon used to charter buses in the spring. So we would charter buses and we would travel the state and we visit all these different colleges. So I had an opportunity to visit the Atlanta University Center, where there's Morehouse College, there's Clark Atlanta College, there's Morris Brown, there's Spelman College as well, and had an opportunity to learn a lot more about what each of these schools represented and what you could get from each of them. But I was very excited when I walked on the campus of Morehouse. The students carried themselves very differently, head up, very professional. They spoke with authority, and it was just something about that campus that really got me excited. So I applied, of course, and I was accepted. The challenge, though, again with Morehouse is, at least at the time when we applied, was I know that my parents couldn't afford it, right? So I was blessed to have received an academic scholarship and was able to attend a school that has definitely changed my life. With Dr. Canady, he and I, we lived together in the same city in Charlotte, North Carolina. And then as soon as I left Charlotte, North Carolina, and I went to Columbus, Ohio to attend Ohio State for my master's, there I was with Dr. Scott and with Dr. Britt. And to this day, again, 40 plus, almost 40 years in some cases and 39 in others, we're still engaging in conversations, and we're holding each other accountable, and continuing to laugh and push each other even to this day. So I'm very grateful for my experiences at Morehouse College and the bond that we've developed from that first day in 1983. And here we are still to this day. So, Chris Weathers.
Thank you.
Grace and peace unto you. I'm George Eric Britt. I'm the youngest of the bunch. And also, I'm the only northerner of the bunch. I hail from East Orange, New Jersey, born and raised in East Orange, New Jersey, which is right next door to Newark, New Jersey. It's a 20-minute drive from Manhattan. I grew up in New York and New Jersey. Blessed to have gone to Morehouse. How did I get to Morehouse? Well, my mother is an HBCU champion. She's a Fiskite. She went to Fisk University. And she told me that my money's only going to an HBC. I only applied to 2 colleges. Rutgers University here in the state of New Jersey, which is the premier state institution in the state of New Jersey, and Morehouse College. I grew up at a time like these brothers when you didn't have the internet. You received paper applications in the mail. The Morehouse application came in the mail. My mother happened to be home for lunch. She grabbed the application, took the application back to work. She started filling out the application. When I called her when I got home from school, she says, listen, the application came in. I'm doing X, Y, and Z. Now you got to do this and that. And this is where you're going to school. I'm like, man, I just really want to just get away from home. I want to go to University of Hawaii. I want to get really away from here, from New Jersey. But I was blessed to grow up in a household that really, really taught you your history. History as an African-American male, history as a person from Africa. And so I was indoctrinated in Black history. I mean, I read about it and knew about it. That was my life. And when she and I started speaking about, of course, Dr. King, Benjamin Elijah Mays, and so many others, and then, looking at who graduated from the institution, who was active in my community, I said, okay, I can do this, Mom. I can go to Morehouse. I have 3 older brothers. One is deceased now, but I can tell you that brotherhood I had with them almost pales to the brotherhood I established at Morehouse. I mean, I absolutely matured with these men. We absolutely matured together. And one of the things I want to say to encourage you to go to Morehouse is your network determines your net worth. Who you are with is going to determine your net worth and the impact you make in life. And these brothers challenge us. We challenge each other, I should say. We challenge each other, but it's all done in love. And so I'm ever so grateful for Morehouse that had a degree of expectation for me and all of us. You are expected to excel.
That's right. You
are expected to excel. And they don't take it. It's not something that you're not expected to do. And you need to live life with expectation. And I'll end on that note so we can try to wrap up in the time frame. You mentioned Dr. Canady. Thank you so much.
As I've said many times, I was a senior in high school, and I'm from Jacksonville, Florida. And I was a senior in high school. I was one of the top students at the school. I was the top African-American student at the school, grade point average wise. But I had never seen anybody in my family go to college, so I thought it was not an option for me. And one day I was walking down the hall, and an African-American guidance counselor by the name of Samuel Eves, and those of you who know John Eves is his uncle. He walked up to me one day in the hall, and he said, "Hey, Canady." He said, "Hey, boy, what college you going to?" I said, "I'm not going to college." He said, "Why not?" I said, "We don't have any money. I don't even know how to fill the application."
Yeah.
And he said, "Boy, get in my office." And back then they talked to you kind of rough. And I went to his office, and he said, "Boy, you can go to college." He said, "You can go to college." He said, "You're a good student, a pretty good football player." And he said, "You need to apply to this school, Morehouse College." At that particular time, I had never heard of the school. I was only 6 hours away, but it was like a world away from me. I thought I couldn't go, and I applied to that school. It's the only college that I applied to. And my life has never been the same. And what I want to say to you, young men, and to your families, here's a guy who thought he couldn't go to college, now has started a school to help other boys to realize their dreams. So, brothers, I want you to know, young kings, it's not where you came from, but it's where you're going. And Morehouse changed the trajectory of my life. And that's why I have these friends here 40 years later, and we are still growing and developing into the men that God created us to be.
That's right.
Our next question is, brothers, talk about the brotherhood. And we're not going to take long. We got 20 minutes left total. So we're not going to take long. Let's talk about the brotherhood and the impact of men, because at our school, we are all male academy. So let's talk a little bit about that to help these young men get a better understanding. Describe the impact of relationships and brotherhood that you experience at Morehouse and how that is affecting you today. Someone else can start.
Reverend Canady. Okay.
Go ahead, Dr. Scott.
I touched on that a little bit in my introductory comments, that one of the blessings of Morehouse is the brotherhood that we have had 35, 40 years. I still can remember when I met you guys. Reverend Britt was in my wedding. I was at his wedding. DCU and Chris were in the wedding. Kēvin, when he first started working, he came up. We connected. It's that Morehouse fraternity. And it still lasts to this day, and it helped us, the brotherhood, get through tough times.
That's right.
I talked about during that COVID time. That was a time when people were isolated, and I could count on receiving an uplifting text from Kēvin, from Crisco, from Dr. Canady, from Reverend Britt, who I affectionately call G.E. Britt, George Eric Britt, because at Morehouse, we're taught to use our full name. But the brotherhood, I get, and a lot of our texts, they are serious matter. We're talking about what's happening in the world with Hamas, and then we'll throw some humor in there. We'll get a humorous text. And all of that is important for our mental health, our mental stability, right. And just to know you have a network of men who care. Yes. I know Kēvin and DC and Crisco and George. I know they care about me, and I know they know I care about them and their families. And so that's the kind of thing, and that's what distinguishes Morehouse, because you don't find that in other colleges. A lot of time when people graduate, that's it. They don't go back to the campus. They don't communicate with the people. And that's just been one of the real blessing. I gotta say this to the young men in life, and this is what I thought when I was 18, 19, even 22 when I graduated from Morehouse. Oh, friends come a dime a dozen. You know, when I moved to these new cities, I'm gonna meet new friends. I did meet new people. But these guys right here, Reverend Canady, Kēvin, Crisco, George, these people.
Dr. Scott fell off. And one of the things I want to say about the brotherhood is, you know, in a friend, you want somebody who's got your back. You want somebody who's going to challenge you and help you develop. And another thing, you want somebody who's going to share their heart and is willing to talk. And as you can see, Reverend Dr. Scott is loquacious. Brothers at Morehouse are loquacious.
They got to Google that one.
They can talk. And so, you know, you talk about things that men typically don't talk about. And that is a blessing. You can talk to somebody and help you have a conversation that's holistic and touches on every aspect of life.
Yeah.
We need that as men. And I got that from the brotherhood at Morehouse.
Yeah, and the brotherhood, you know, it will be riding Reverend Scott as well. So we will be having fun with it, brothers.
Oh, yeah.
So I can't. The one thing I can say to you just real quickly is that, you know, Morehouse had a profound impact on my life, you know, and the brotherhood that we have from Morehouse and my ability to rely on these brothers, whether I need an uplift in life, whether I needed to be informed about something that was going to be coming ahead or preparing myself with my career. You know, I draw strength from these brothers. And I would tell you, I couldn't imagine any other place in the world giving me a greater opportunity than this experience that Morehouse has given me, to be able to rely on and have these shared experiences that's truly built off of mutual respect. I mean, we rely on each other and we support each other. But one of the things that bonds us well is one of the things that respect we have for each other.
Sure. Yeah. Do we want to
Go ahead, Brother Crisco.
Okay. So, you know, one of the things that I think that's important to, at least for me, when I grew up in my community, I never was one of those kids that had opportunities to go off for the summer and stay somewhere and be with groups and all that kind of stuff. That just didn't happen in the communities that I grew up in. So you think about this. So this is probably going to be the first time where you're away from home 24/7. You're in a new place. You've left pretty much your other family, and now it's a time to almost build a new family. So you spend all your time with these brothers. You're taking challenging classes. You're studying together. You're doing projects together. You're debating and discussing different topics, global and local, in the evenings or at the cafeteria or in your dorm rooms. So there's a saying that goes, iron sharpens iron. And we make each other better, and we don't stop when you graduate. And here we are. This is a prime example. We're still doing the exact same things we were doing then. We're challenging each other in a positive way. We're holding each other accountable, and we're applauding each other when it's time to applaud each other. Morehouse College.
Wow. Yes. Wow. And the brotherhood, Kēvin and I played football together. We came in as freshmen together, and we were able to play football. And we knew we weren't going to the NFL, but we had a great time. We didn't win a lot of games all the time, but we had a brotherhood. We struggled together. I still have marks on my body from 40 years ago that we got together. The facilities were not the greatest, but the brotherhood. And again, you know, we were in each other's weddings. We shared our corporate jobs together. And now all of us, you know, as parents and as husbands, you know, we do things with each other's children and for each other's children. So that brotherhood and that bond we're trying to help you to develop at Life Male STEAM Academy will last beyond your time here. And we came from all walks of life, and all of us have different experiences, but we came together in a brotherhood. And that's what we want to try to establish with you, that other guys who look like you, who've had to go through struggles just like you, and you can look at our lives and realize that we have gone through some things, but we did it together.
Yes.
That's what we want to try to build with each and every one of you. We want to shift now. All of us are husbands. We are sons. We are brothers. Some of us are parents. How did Morehouse, you think, impacted what you decided to do with the rest of your life? And we're going to begin with Kēvin with that.
Okay. Well, I was fortunate, that actually I'm headed towards year 35 in marriage, and I was able to venture across the street and meet my lovely wife, Paula, right there on campus, and here we are still together, 30 almost 35 years. So
Wow.
that was just one of the side benefits of being at Morehouse. But I will tell you, it was a springboard that shaped my future of my life. I mean, I could not have asked for just a tremendous partnership that gave me the family. I was fortunate also to have a legacy of 2 daughters also that are recent graduates of Spelman as well. So it's just a bond that actually gave us a chance to expand on life and do something that maybe we were a generation ago I was not familiar with, but it actually worked out and gave me more than just a world-class education. It gave me a world-class family, the example that I've set. I mentor a lot. I do a great deal. My wife is a retired school principal. And I've retired from a career in sales, managing the East Coast, small town guy from Georgia, first generation education, but I managed from a Fortune 500 company from Miami to Maine. So those are things that I never would have imagined without a Morehouse. And it gave me that chance to pursue excellence in all aspects of my life.
Thank you.
Outstanding.
Who else? Next.
GEB.
Yeah, so I believe he's talking about husband. Morehouse definitely prepared me to one, become a better person. And as a better person, it prepared me to be somebody who would be an eligible husband. Definitely helped me to appreciate the queens that are in our village as African people. And I'm blessed to have an African queen, my wife, Marlon Williams Britt, Esquire. And definitely Morehouse helped me to understand that as a man, not only do you stand for your family, but you stand for those beyond your walls of your house. And so you are to be a pillar in your community, not only a pillar in your home, but a pillar in your community. Right. And I can say Morehouse definitely helped me with that. And I have been a community man, a village man for many, many years. And I owe that to Morehouse that says, hey, I can remember my college saying, I'm going to stop. I said, I'm going to college because I want to better myself so I can better humanity. And Morehouse helped me to do that.
Wow.
So I'll jump in and share my thoughts about this. So Morehouse, I would say grounded me, right? Because when I was there and seeing all the very successful young men, well, first of all, that were part of your class, right? So just think about all the smart kids ended up at one place, right? Are very thorough and very motivated students. And so these are now your classmates. And I did not want to be the one that didn't take care of business once you got out of college, right? So it grounded me. It made me more focused by being at Morehouse and seeing what everybody else was doing with their careers and with their lives. So that when I did come out of Morehouse, when I graduated, I was very focused on, okay, now it's time to start a family. It is time to start my career and take over something. Because, I had, and still do, grand plans of doing some big things with my career. and so I wanted to start a family, and I wanted to be focused on that, and ended up marrying my high school sweetheart. We're still together today as well. 32 years, not quite 35, but we're going to get there. But also, I have 3 sons, and I was the last male in my family, so I really wanted to have males. I wanted to have sons so I can continue my family's name. And so we have 3 sons, and they've all gone to Morehouse College. And I wouldn't want that to end any other way. I want them to be very thorough, happy, and successful Morehouse men.
Wow. You know, we heard these words when we were students at Morehouse, for unto whom much is given, much is required.
That's right. That's right.
And I used to hear that so much. I thought it was our president, Dr. Mays' words, because we heard that Dr. Mays said it. Then I discovered it was in the Bible, and it became who I am. So at Morehouse, I was not a pastor, but eventually the calling, as George Britt said, the calling for our community, for our village. That's what God called me to do. And eventually I resigned from corporate America. I used to work with Kēvin, with the same company, and all of us were salesmen and with these major corporations. And I walked away. Kēvin couldn't believe it. He said, man, how you going to walk away from this money? You talk about getting married. But I knew God was calling me to do something different. Yeah. And I met my wife, who is your CEO. So y'all know, as y'all call her First Lady. I met First Lady. She was about 19 years old, and I was about 23, and we've been married now 31 years. And we believe that God has called us to make a difference in your life, and in your mother and your father's life, and your grandparents' lives. And we learned that, and it catapulted me to that from Morehouse College. Awesome. Dr. Scott, we got about 4 minutes total left.
Okay. Thank you, Reverend Canady. I talking about family, I have to just give credit to my father, the late Joe Scott. I was raised by a man who was an orphan. His mother passed away during childbirth or shortly thereafter father left. And my dad took it upon himself to educate himself and to educate his 3 sons, in so much as, you know, he gave me Morehouse before Morehouse. My father taught me how to dress, how to be a leader, how to take care of a family, how to look somebody in the eye and give a firm handshake, how to tie a tie, how to shine my shoes, how to present myself. And so I just want to encourage the young men who may not have had a father. And I'm a pastor now. I pastor a lot of men who have not had a father or a strong father. But what I tell them is, you can become that. You can become that. And I saw my father become what his father wasn't. And so I just want to leave that with the young men there. My father grew up an orphan, but raised 3 Morehouse graduates.
Outstanding.
Wow, outstanding. That goes back to, it's not where you came from, but it's where you're going.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah. So, brothers, we got about 2 minutes left, but I want you to give a statement why you would recommend Morehouse to families today. Why would you, after 40 years, would you still recommend Morehouse to families today? And then a general thing about HBCUs.
I'll quickly say, Darryl, Reverend Canady, Dr. Canady, I would say to you is simply this. It is a place that gave me the opportunity to thrive. Not only did I thrive academically, I thrived culturally, as well as socially. I am a much better person as a result of Morehouse, and that's why Morehouse has made me a greater servant. But more importantly, no matter, I know you mentioned some things about facilities, but I will tell you that one thing we're certain of is Morehouse they are known for making leaders, period.
Yes. Thank you.
That's right.
Looking for an extended family? Morehouse is your place. A family that's going to love you, going to shape you, going to challenge you, and be there for you, not only during your years on campus, but beyond campus. Morehouse is the place to be. HBCUs are extended families.
Thank you.
All right. So what I would say is Morehouse sets a very high bar of expectations of success and being able to make your mark in the world, regardless of whatever that field of human endeavor is, be it business, politics, be it education, science, theology. You will find some Morehouse men in leadership positions and somewhere in those industries. So what does that mean? So it really means two things to me. One is they did it, I can do it. But the other thing is there's somebody I can reach out to. A Morehouse network is there in place, and I can learn from those brothers that have come before me that can actually help me navigate through whatever the obstacles are in my career path. So I think it's very important to put Morehouse very high on your list, because there's nothing but some good things to come from Morehouse men. And I believe that in all my heart.
I thank you, brothers. I would want to say to you, young men, I want to bring you in on a conversation I had with my son. My son was born September 14th, 2001. And 3 days after that was 9/11. A month after he was born, he was on Morehouse campus for homecoming. I wanted him to breathe that air on 830 Westview Drive.
Yes, sir. Yes,
He's been up to that campus hundreds of times in his life. And so here he is, 18 now, deciding where to go to college. He's wanting to please his dad. And he said, "Dad, you just want me to go to Morehouse because you went to Morehouse." And I said, "MJ," his name is Marlon Darnell Scott Jr. I said, "MJ, if I didn't go to Morehouse College, I would want you to go to Morehouse College, because I always want the best for my son."
That's right. That's right.
And so I say the same thing to you, young men. Dream high. You can be a Morehouse man. God performs miracles. About 5 years ago, guys, and Morehouse is expensive. About 5 years ago, at a graduation at Morehouse College, a man by the name of Robert Smith shocked the world by paying off. The first thing he said out of his mouth, "I'm going to pay everybody's tuition in this senior class. I'm going to see." So never say you can't afford it, because God can afford it.
That's right.
I want you to dream high. I want you to be that next generation of Morehouse men. And just like I told my son, I want the best for you. God bless you.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Thank you. When we were at Morehouse, we were challenged with these words. It's entitled God's Minute. I only have just a minute. There's only 60 seconds in it. It's forced upon me. I didn't seek it. I didn't choose it. It's up to me to use it. I must suffer if I lose it, give an account if I abuse it. It's a tiny little minute, but eternity is in it. Young scholars, it's your time. The greatest opportunity that you have is to get your education and become the young king that you were created to be.
That's right.
I want to thank all of my friends, 40 years to come with us today to inspire you And thank you for allowing me to be your friend for 40 years. And so
Thank
proud
you.
of all of you. And we have business owners, we have retirees, we have guys who married up, esquires and doctors, and and we are doing some things. And what I love about all of these men, it's not just about us, but we all are giving back so that another generation of young Black boys can rise up. And 40 years from now, you'll be around the same way as we are, talking about what the brotherhood that you have. And that's what we are trying to do for you at Life Male STEAM Academy. Living intelligently, fulfilling expectations. So thank you, brothers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.